Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat malam, selamat bergabung kembali dengan WartaJazz Monday Lounge edisi internasional. Bersama saya Agus Setiawan Basuni, live dari WartaJazz House Gallery di kawasan Cimanggis, Indonesia. So thank you for joining everyone. This is WartaJazz Monday Lounge, the international edition. Tonight, I will gonna have our special guest coming from Philadelphia, United States of America. My name is Agus Setiawan Basuni, and I would like to also say hi to my colleague in Yogyakarta. Assalamualaikum, selamat malam Mas Aji Wartono.
Waalaikumsalam Mas Agus.
Okay.
Dan saya Aji Wartono dari Yogyakarta. I'm Aji from Yogyakarta City, from the WartaJazz office in Yogyakarta.
So we're gonna have like a bilingual tonight, both bahasa and also English. So feel free if you have any questions or comments about the music that we're gonna play tonight, coming from our special guest. So yeah, just shout out, type in chat box in whatever social media that you like to use, either Instagram or YouTube, and you can also join with us by registering to our website www.WartaJazz.com. So we would like to say hi first to Orrin. Hey man, how are you?
Hi Orrin.
I'm great. It's a pleasure to be here and pleasure to meet you virtually.
Well, thank you very much for sparing your time and trying to share some of your thoughts with us in Indonesia. So before we start talking about your recent album, perhaps some of our Indonesian jazz fans or audience would like to know a little bit about what you were doing. I mean, more recently, apart from that, of course, you are deciding to do your own solo career, yeah, after having as a pianist in the Bad Plus for 2 years.
Well, I will say I don't know if I decided to deal with my career after the Bad Plus. I was doing it up until the Bad Plus, and then through the Bad Plus. Sure. But I think the being in the Bad Plus was definitely a blessing in some way, because there were tons of people who just probably weren't aware of what I was doing for whatever reason. Maybe their radio was broken or something. But the point is, they didn't know what I was doing before the Bad Plus. So now, you know, after a while, Reed and Dave and I just decided to do some other things and really, and honestly, to come out of the Bad Plus with, and I'm being funny, but I'm dead real, to come out of the Bad Plus with such a killing record right after that. Everybody's like, oh, wow, he did this killing record right after the Bad Plus. Yeah, it just happened like that. And thank you for liking the record, but it wasn't like a plan like, okay, now I'm on my own. It was more so just how things happened and the cycle of compositions and the cycle of my career and the timing. So now I'm just spending time doing that. And also the big band, having a big band, it was a lot to handle all at the same time. But now here I am.
Yeah, as you already mentioned that if we look at carefully to the what you've been doing so far, I mean, it's a long career before we where you are stand right now. And one of the things that I also read that you being awarded a few fellowship in the arts in 2010, and you've been working with so many interesting names in jazz, of course. How did you find yourself right now? I mean, if somebody would like to, who is Orrin Evans? I mean, for those who are unfortunately doesn't know you, or somebody who probably already know you after the Bad Plus, or maybe before that, how would you like to say portray yourself in the current jazz scene?
It's funny because I had to answer that question in something I was working on recently, and it seems like something you would just say, right away. But then, especially during this pandemic that we've been going through, I've decided, or I'm realizing, I don't want to say I decided, I've realized that it's a daily struggle. It's a daily journey to figure out who you are, musically, otherwise, because there's always more music to listen to. So I probably wouldn't define myself and say I'm this kind of musician, because tomorrow there may be something else that inspires me musically. So when I think of who I am, it's just based on first being a husband and a father, and all of that informs everything else. It informs my relationship with music. It informs my relationship with other people. Everything is based on that being the most important thing to me. And then music. You wonder sometimes, like, could I live without music? I don't know. I never really think about that, but I do know, and I know I can answer without any hesitation. I have no desire to live without being a husband and a father. So those are the first things that inform everything else I do. And even my love for listening to music comes from, just putting on music and listening with my family, or listening with my father when I was younger. So it was all related to family. So all the other things you can Google and find out who I am and what I do musically, from the Captain Black Big Band to other bands, to playing the piano, to conducting, to arranging. But all of it comes down to just, being Orrin Evans and the son of Don and Fran Evans, and the husband of Dawn Evans, and the father of Miles and Matthew. All of that is what's important first.
Right. Now we would like to talk about the most recent album, which is The Magic of Now. And I just read the Mike Djokovic was writing in All About Jazz. He started with the timing is everything, the old master's teach, and I think it's so right about this album. But let's talk about what is the concept behind the Magic of Now.
The concept is there was no concept, and that's kind of where you come up with the title of The Magic of Now. There wasn't a record date. We went in to do a gig, and the only concept was just 4 people getting together that hadn't seen each other for a long time, not only due to our recordings or touring schedules, but due to the pandemic. So we were playing to an empty room and streaming live, and it was just really fun to just be around those people. I hadn't been around Bill or Vicente in a long time. I had just recorded right before the pandemic with Emmanuel, and played another gig with him. But other than that, I hadn't really seen those people. So if anything, I hope that everyone hears just that spirit of now and living in the moment on the record, and that was the main thing, just to get that. Most of them are all, they're all first takes, because everything was live. So other than the secret edits that Paul Stash probably did that I didn't hear, it's raw and real and right now. And that's pretty much why it's The Magic of Now, just seizing the moment, taking it in the palm of your hand and living for today.
And how did you form of this lineup? I mean, of course, you've been working with some of the guys previously.
The lineup was something I was teased with maybe 7 years ago. I did a gig and I hired Vicente and Bill Stewart, and I just love the sound of them. We did a festival in Detroit. I also heard them on some Nicholas Payton project, heard them live. I had been playing with Bill in Steve Wilson's band called Wilsonian's Grain. So it gave me a chance to really get to know him as an artist and composer. And I just really wanted to do something with him. And we did a record in 2014, but Vicente couldn't make that record date. So I've been for the last 7 years, pretty much waiting for the opportunity to present itself for us to record together. And then to top it off with Emmanuel, he, as I said, he had just recorded on my big band record, and I've known Emmanuel since he was 11 years old or so, and watched him just grow, and really looked forward to an opportunity not only to just play with him, but to play his compositions and to play his tunes.
Okay, Orrin. The first, I like your new album because it makes sense. You say no concept in the behind the concept, the new album, because so many colors in your the new albums. Yeah, yes, the post bop and like the ballad with the classical harmony and my question is how do you choose the musicians to join with you? I know like the Bill Scott, the senior musician in jazz, and the youngest Emmanuel Wilskin is the rising star. And how do you do to?
I don't know if I choose them. I think those musicians choose me. If
Okay.
and I don't mean it to sound like that. What I mean is the longer we are all
but
here
that's probably
playing music,
right, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the longer we're all here playing music, we're all drawn together. So let's put it more like that. We're all, you know, that you come together, and sometimes you get into a room with a bunch of musicians and you don't click with any of them. You know, you may like one of them, you may, or you're like, but these are musicians that when we get together in a room, you know, it's there. It's the energy is already there. So sometimes when people are looking for people to play with, that's the problem. You know, I mean, it's just like love. You know, when you're constantly looking for it and out there, you normally don't find it, but it finds you. And when that person finds you, and that's how I look at the band and also the compositions, they find me and I'm like, oh, wow, this song, I don't go actively seeking them. It just turns out, hey, man, I like this drummer. I like this bass player. I like this saxophonist. And we all end up coming together. And sometimes you come together and say, oh, no. You know, there's certain people I like to listen to, but I don't like to play with, you know, and there's probably certain people that like to listen to me, but don't want to play with me, you know, so it all just comes together the more you're here, and you find out that it clicks naturally or it doesn't.
Okay, and I like it because in this album, you not too dominated in the music. There, you give the more spaces to the other musician. You can tell me about that.
You know, I like having a party. I like hosting parties, and I look at being a band leader the same way. The party's at my house already. You know, I cook the food. You know, you're sitting in my, I don't need to walk around with a t-shirt saying, this is my house, because it's my house and I'm hosting, just have a good time. And I look at my bands just like that. I mean, several producers, and including Paul, because we've talked about it, would probably prefer that I play more, or that I take more solos, or I remember one label I was on years ago, I didn't like the mix because he would mix the piano louder. Whoever's record it was, he would mix that person louder. And I never liked that. It's a band. I don't need to take another solo for it to be my record, because it says Orrin Evans on the cover. Just like when you come to my house for a party, I don't need to walk around saying this is my house. You know you're at my house. So I look at it the same way as leading a bandstand. It's for lack of better words, my band. I was the one to call you and put it all together. So now you play. Go ahead. I got you. And I enjoy comping. I'm probably, I don't know if every other piano, but I enjoy comping a little more than soloing sometimes, because I like just making something happen. So, and then I know more people, you know, I've had it said to me several times, you need to play more. You should play more. You should be featured. I hear that, but it's my party.
Good point. Well, I think it's time to listen first to to the song itself. And so let's just enjoy the music from the Orrin Evans. We picked this track. Matt, perhaps you would like to explain that a little bit.
Not much to it. It's written for my two sons. It's the first Matt, M-A-T, is the initials for my oldest son, and then my youngest son, his name is Matthew. So it's just Matt.
Okay. So everyone, enjoy. All right, that was Matt, but I just realized that I play from different albums. Apologize for that. That I was playing from the 1998 because I just realized that it has different. Because the most recent one was 8 minutes. I'm gonna try to look up to my library and try to play that again later on. But
No
let's
problem. I
continue
mean,
with Aji Wartono.
It was good to hear that one. I hadn't heard it in so long, so it's good. The magic of then.
Okay,
Yeah, let's continue, Mas Aji.
Yeah, I like your music, and who is the most influential musician for you?
I don't know if there's the most, but there's definitely been people, different people throughout my life that have inspired me. One of my first piano teachers, Charles Pettaway, was one. Definitely Trudy Pitts, a piano player from Philadelphia, and then of course we all have, you know, the McCoys, the Herbie Hancock, the Andrew Hill, and so many people just from listening to and checking out music. But my goal is to find, I mean, there's definitely sometimes like this doesn't speak to me, but my goal is to find something in everyone that is truly serious about this music and has put the time in forth to hear something in them that I like, you know, and can be inspired by, whether they're younger than me, older than me, whatever. So many musicians, definitely growing up in Philadelphia musically, there were just so many people, so many piano players, so many band leaders, Bobby Durham, Mickey Roker, Billy James, just so many people right here in Philly. I didn't have to go far to be inspired.
Okay, and I have the classical music basic because I hear the some classical music influence in your music.
My mother would love you for that. It was. I don't know if what's coming through, but it was in there because I wasn't allowed, for lack of better words, to study jazz piano solely. So my mother was a classical singer. She was an opera singer. So I had to, with Mr. Pettaway, I studied all classical pretty much up until high school and then going into a little bit of college. But, you know, what you hear in there now are just hopefully some of the product of studying different Czerny and Hannon and different finger exercises. So hopefully you hear that. That would definitely make Mr. Pettaway, my mother, and everyone else that wanted me to study classical feel really good. So I'm glad you hear that.
And maybe in your new albums and any difference, not concept, but any different process in the new album.
From the old ones?
Yes, from the old album.
No, I mean, one of the things I try to approach all the recording projects, anything I'm doing, but my records is just that same vibe of relaxation and a party and just a good energy. And thankfully, I've been able to do that with every project. I walk in, whether it's a big band, small group, duo, whatever the project is, I'm able to walk in there and surround myself with people who want to have a party too. So that's the first, before the musical concept, honestly, for me is just arriving and knowing I'm going to be surrounded by family and friends. That's part of the recording process. That's extremely important to me.
Okay, you also have the big band, the Captain Black big band, yeah. Is any difference? You lead the big band and the small group?
I try not to have any differences. And that's been a goal of mine since I started the big band, to make it operate like a small group, you know. And some of that happens off the bandstand. So I'm just as friendly, even though whether it's the big one with 17 members or the smaller one with 9 to 11 members, that we all still have that family energy. We all still know what people are going through. So I try to, and even on the bandstand, being able to move from this section to this section in a trio, I want to do the same thing in a big ensemble, larger ensemble. So I try to make those work together and operate the same way, you know, whether it's the big band. I mean, it definitely is a little more preparation involved, you know, just getting to the gig and make sure you have all the music and all that. But I try to make it seem and feel the same way that a smaller ensemble does.
Okay, and by the way, what are the favorite composition in your new album?
Say that one more time.
What's the favorite composition in your new album?
On the new album, that's fun. That's a rough one, because I didn't go into this record thinking of the compositions being suited for a record. You know, I went in just thinking of a live set and a live concert. But when I listen back to it now, my favorite compositions on there are not mine. You know, I love Emmanuel Wilkins' writing, and Levels from the new record, and Poor Fisherman are two of my favorites. And if I had to pick one of mine, I would say Dave. Yes, Dave would probably be one of mine.
Yes, yeah. It's the good ballad, and I say it's the harmony, the classical music harmony in this composition is very best.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Okay, Mas.
I'm trying to download that music. I'm gonna try to play that before we end up our show for tonight. Of course, 30 minutes will be run out quite fast, you know, than you could ever think. But that's the purpose, that everyone who just tune in to our program, they may gonna find that, oh, I like this guy and I wanted to listen. That's the reason, you know. It's a teaser for everyone who just listening to or tuning into the WartaJazz Monday Lunch, which is the weekly program that we presented for any creative artists from around the world. I would like to continue to questions like how exactly did you feel? I mean, like a transformation between your Bed Plus and during the Bed Plus and after, especially with this new label. I mean, it's like you having more blossoming ideas that just going through all the way, or maybe because it is a time, you know, like the magic of now.
It's definitely, you know, and especially when you add the pandemic into the mix and what we're going through in the world right now. I don't think I haven't had a chance to compare the two, you know, at this point. I know what life was like before the Bad Plus. I know what I was always doing and recording and documenting and releasing. I was actually on Smoke Session Records before the Bad Plus. But post Bad Plus happened in the middle of a pandemic. So, and we haven't gotten back to normal, for lack of better words, yet. So right now I'm just working on me and making sure when we get back to working like it, or whatever the next step is going to be, that I have enough things, you know, ready. You know, I have enough things on the stove and ready to eat. So that is the Captain Black Big Band. That's Tar Baby, a co-led band I have with Eric Rivas and Nasheed Waits. We have that record. I have another record that I'll be releasing of a Brazilian project that I have. Then I also have another project that's basically called Live in the Living Room, of these sessions we've just got together and did either in my house or in the studio. So I think as I prepare for life after the Bad Plus, I'm just making sure that I have material for you all. And when they start, you know, in the audience you're introducing me to right now, when they start Googling and they start checking it out, that I'm coming with a bunch of new information and new music, and presenting also some musicians that you may not know of, you know, with my label, my record label, Imani Records. I've released a couple records on there, Luke Carlos O'Reilly, John Michelle, bass player, and Caleb Willa Curtis. And I have another one in the can, JD Walter, singer. So we're just trying to build on that label too, you know, so it's just lining up all your ducks, and or whatever you call them, lining them all up and getting ready to do what we got to do when this, and when I come over there and you're like, oh yeah, we got you, and you know all the records, and we're enjoying the different bands and the different sounds.
Okay, when the time is come and you are having a chance to do a worldwide tour again, what kind of lineup that we could expect from you?
Well, there's two. One lineup, definitely, hopefully the Magic of Now band will have an opportunity to tour, which is Bill Stewart, Vicente Archer, and Emmanuel Wilkins. But along with that, my trio with Luquez, Curtis, and Mark Whitfield Jr., hopefully get, you know, them working more. I would love to do a solo record and a solo tour. The idea of being on the road by myself for like for a month is definitely undaunting, but I'm definitely interested in doing the solo tour and working on that. And then some other projects that I have with some of the elders in the music, with Buster Williams and Lenny White, to try to work on some things with that. So just staying busy and make sure that I'm keeping the audience guessing and wondering along with myself, and just presenting whatever needs to happen at that moment to make everyone feel good.
All right. So, Orrin, thank you very much. Before we say goodbye, we're going to play the track, Dave, at the end. But I would like Aji to maybe he has another question.
Yeah. I think there is the question from the WartaJazz YouTube channel. Yes, from the bass player Harley Yoga Pradana from Indonesia. Congratulations, Orrin. What an amazing composition. I'd like to ask, did you write the composition strictly or just go? How tune the ensemble can be so tight? And I'm really impressed with the interplay you guys did.
Well, most of them, you know, honestly, the funny thing is the version that he played of Matt Matt from that record was arranged specifically for that ensemble. So a lot of times, whether I'm composing or arranging, I'm thinking about the people that are going to play it in a smaller group. And even in the big band, which I try not to do, but you can't help it. You're like, oh, Stacey Dillard would sound great on this. Oh, this would sound great with this. So when you listen to that project, that's everyone on that record. Everyone on that record that you just played was a member of my wedding party. So they're more than just the members in my band. These are my brothers. This is family. So I think the way that I compose, or the way that I compose is one thing, but allowing my brothers and sisters the freedom to interpret it is another thing. And I think that's what people hear, that I'm allowing them, or allowing is a deep word, but I'm allowing them to be themselves And what you hear is them reacting to my composition, but also the freedom to be them within my composition. And that's what I think people like when they hear it. I hope that's what people like. And I hope that answered the question.
All right. So we really run up our time, and I do hope that we could invite you again in another session like a WartaJazz talk. Then we have more flexible time to talk about your vision in music and of course the future plans as well. But before we say goodbye, as I said, we're gonna play Dave at the end of the show. I would like to give you a chance to say a few words as a final closing statement for this WartaJazz Monday launch, the international edition.
Well, thank you for inviting me here. Thank you for introducing me to a new audience. And I can't wait till everything gets back to whatever it's going to be. And we can see each other and feel the music in person, live and in living color. But thank you for what you do now, keeping the music alive.
So that was Orrin Evans live from Philadelphia, United States of America. And you are listening or watching the WartaJazz Monday Launch, our weekly program broadcasted from WartaJazz office and House Gallery in Indonesia. My name is Agus Setiawan Basuni and my partner.
And I'm Aji Wartono from the WartaJazz office in Jakarta.
Thanking you very much for your time, and please enjoy the last tune that we're gonna play from Orrin Evans. This is Dave.